to Viewpoint on Ukraine today. My name is Sam Kearley, and joining us now to discuss recent developments in aviation routes above and around Ukraine's Crimean peninsula is aviation expert Andriy Guck. Mr. Guck, welcome back to the programme.
Hello.
So recently, the European Aviation Safety Agency confirmed air carriers can safely fly on routes over parts of the Black Sea. However, the airspace above the Crimean Peninsula remains closed. Now, many people seem to be quite confused about this. There were some misunderstandings in the media. Can you please, Mr. Guck, explain and give us some clarity on what is happening here?
You see, in aviation, they have not something like territory over under the Crimea Peninsula. They have such called flight information regions. And if we talk about Crimea, we will talk about Simferopol flight information region. And it covers not only the territory of the continental, of the peninsula, but also the territory of the high seas, of the Black Sea. And in this particular case, Ukraine, even half a year ago, opened 2 routes, even 4 routes, under the high seas, something like southwest of the Black Sea. And it was used by mostly Ukrainian carriers. And the European Air Safety Agency, they were monitoring using of these routes, and now they recognized that Ukraine does enough efforts to provide any mitigation of any risks in this territory, and allowed to use 2 routes for international carriers.
So the European Safety Agency has now said that not only Ukrainian airlines can use these routes, but these are also safe for European airlines to be using.
But what is vital for Ukraine, it was clearly said that Ukraine provides enough efforts to provide air safety and safety of aeronautical information. This is one point. And second point that is vital for us is that Russian Federation was clearly stated that this country is not internationally recognized to provide any information innovation over the Simferopol flight information region. And that matters a lot.
So Ukraine's Ministry of Infrastructure attempted to explain this to the general public. In your opinion, did they do a good job? Did they help to educate the people of Ukraine about what is happening here?
Actually, not only for Ukrainian people, because you see, if we see many reactions in media of Russian Federation, that's a good news for Ukraine. And in this particular case, we saw lots of publications in Russian Federation that they are trying to explain that in the European Air Safety Agency has nothing to do with any aeronautical information in Crimea or Russian Federation and so on and so forth. That's why it's ordinary procedure if some country opens any air route or publishing information that we are providing all the services, all the safety instructions and so on. So such an organization as ICAO and European Aviation Air Safety Agency, they are monitoring it and recognizing that either it's safe or not safe.
Okay.
And now it was clearly stated that those 2 routes that are provided by Ukraine are safe.
So this is normal practice. When a country creates a new aviation route, it is monitored for some months.
So not only new and existing also.
They are monitored then for some period of time.
Yes.
And then the European Aviation Safety Agency then say whether it's safe for international carriers.
Of course.
Is their comment saying that it is safe, is this any way related to the MH17 disaster in 2014?
Actually, it's somehow related, because if we will read the Dutch Safety Board report, it was said that when events happened in Crimea, ICAO and EASA, they published instructions for carriers to close airspace over the Crimea. But if we see the events in east of Ukraine, when they began, and when ICAO and EASA didn't react, they didn't recommend it to close airspace. And this is one of the claims of Dutch safety boards, not to Ukraine, but to international organizations. That's why now everyone is paying more attention to this. And besides, when MH17 happened, lots of carriers started to avoid Ukraine, not only eastern Ukraine, not only Crimea, but all over the territory of Ukraine. And now, when we see such a publication from European Air Safety Agency, this means that somehow trust to Ukraine, overall Ukraine, will somehow be renewed.
Okay.
And maybe we will see new carriers and carriers back for transit flights, not only on those two routes, but all over the Ukraine.
Okay. So the new routes which have been approved, this is, of course, a political victory for Ukraine. There are also some financial benefits to this, I understand.
Of course. If any carrier, foreign carrier, will fly through the territory of Ukraine, he will make few payments, one to the state budget of Ukraine for flying through its territory, and now it's recognized that Simferopol flight information region is territory of Ukraine.
This also includes the Black Sea, the north of the Black Sea, yes?
Of course. And the second fee is a fee for Ukrainian Ukrar-Ruch. It's a state-owned enterprise that provides aero-nautical services and information.
Okay. And what are these fees usually used for? Are they used to better the country's aviation industry?
Of course. They are used for aviation industry, they are used for paying fees to ICAO, they are used for training the air service men and so on and so forth. So it's, but it depends from the number of flights that will use those routes. So now it's hard to tell what is the influence of this decision. But again, as I see, it will somehow return trust to all the territory of Ukraine, except of Crimea and east of Ukraine.
Okay. So how interested are European aviation companies and airlines interested in these air routes? Are these very useful for them?
Actually, yes, because now they are forced to fly over this territory and use even 2 more countries to fly through. And that's why it's 2 payments.
Okay. So
and fuel issue and so on and so forth. So, of course, it's better to have straight way.
Of course. So the approval of these 2 new routes will reduce fuel costs, it will reduce fees for airlines, and it will also save time for passengers. The flights will be shorter.
Of course, of course.
Okay. In 2014, the European Aviation Safety Agency advised that airlines stop flying over Crimea because of the disputes between Ukraine and Russia. Now, although Ukraine is the only country recognised to have authority in the airspace over Crimea, Russia have claimed responsibility for this air. What does this mean for Ukraine?
Actually, the reason why airspace was closed by international organizations is that we have 2 similar publications from Ukraine and from Russia. And now it was recognized that Ukraine not only publishing safe information, but also provides some efforts to mitigate risks due to publications from Russia.
Okay.
And that's why, of course, Russia will still be publicating some aeronautical information because Russian carriers are flying to Crimea. And again, one more point. This decision of EASA doesn't mean that some international carrier can fly to Crimea. This is only the issue of using 2 routes to fly through. That's why it's quite important from all sides of this questions.
So are any airlines currently flying to Crimea?
Only Russian airlines are flying, but again, Ukraine considers it as violation. Aeroflot, for example, receives a fine for every flight. It's something like 200,000 hryvnias.
Okay.
And every flight costs like this. But Ukraine has no possibility at the moment to receive this money because Aeroflot has no any property in Ukraine and so on. So it's a long procedure to involve ICAO in order to force Russia not to violate all these international rules.
Okay. And Mr. Huk, we're running out of time, so just one final question. Do we see the airspace over the Crimean Peninsula being opened at any time in the near future?
Actually, it depending on the overall situation. We cannot open airspace when the territory is controlled by something like occupation forces. And at the moment, we don't know what Russia is doing from the something like armed conflict can arise there. So they are making some army activities armed activities there. So I don't think that all other airspace in this area will be opened soon.
So, in your opinion, while the Russian occupation of Ukraine's Crimea continues, the airspace will remain closed?
Of
yes?
course.
OK. And it surely cannot be returned to Ukraine while the situation is the way it is?
Of course. At the moment, we can say only for those routes that are something like far from the risky territory.
OK. Mr. Hug, that is all we have time for. Thank you very much for joining us again on Ukraine Today. You have been watching Viewpoint on Ukraine Today, where we have been joined by Andriy Guck, an aviation expert, sharing his opinion on the aviation routes over and above Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula. Thank you for watching.